I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
This is Collateral Cinema.
Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So smoke it if you've got it.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Avengers Day, everybody! Woo!
Woo! Happy Endgame Day!
Oh yeah, that's right, Endgame Day today. That is what we are talking about. Avengers Endgame, the finale of the Avengers saga. What did you guys think of this movie?
Oh, I guess we have to explain that we just got back from the theater like a few minutes ago. We drove straight from the theater to the studio to record this for you guys because it's that special and we want to get this out to you guys. But my opinion, amazing movie. I mean, that was fantastic.
Oh my God. I mean, I haven't even seen that many of the Marvel movies, period. But I checked out Infinity War last night. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, man.
Okay, and how was Endgame compared to Infinity War?
Exactly.
It perfectly complemented each other.
Right.
I mean, it was a perfect ending to those particular movies and also a perfect ending to the saga as a whole.
Right.
Yeah. And do you feel like anything feels untied or loose?
Well, like I said, I haven't seen too many of the other movies, so I can't really say if there's a whole lot of loose threads here, but...
Yeah, I've seen them all. I think I'm missing about 4 movies in all.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, Panther and...
Which, in all fairness, there's so many movies that there's a couple of them that are, I guess, skippable.
It's kind of hard to keep up.
Yeah, this is the culmination of 22 films, starting with Iron Man back in 2008. Dakota and I are fanatics. We've seen every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. We've been following Marvel Studios since the start. We watched nearly all of these in theaters, you know, within at least release week.
I can't think of one that we haven't seen in theater.
No.
We started with Iron Man. Like, we first saw Iron Man as a family, and we wanted to watch that. And since then, I guess Incredible Hulk, I didn't see that in theaters.
And this movie, I did, actually. I did see The Incredible Hulk in theaters.
That's funny.
But this movie, this is for everyone that's followed it since the beginning. And you don't have to be a fanatic. I mean, Bo jumped into this with having barely seen any of them. Robert jumped into this having missed a few. And I think any viewer that has been keeping up with this movies, or at least most of them since 2008, is going to have enough residual knowledge to kind of understand what's going on. And I think it just perfectly wraps all of that up while still keeping the door open. And we're not going to go into detail because we're going to definitely keep this spoiler free.
Oh yeah, I swear to God, I will backhand you motherfuckers if you fucking spoiler this. I do not want Twitter on my ass.
We're not spoiling the end game.
Twitter, we are going to play by the rules here.
This time.
This time, I don't know. Star Wars is coming up.
We'll see. No, but this is 11 years in the making, right? And this is something they'd be planning on since their phase 1, since Iron Man. And they first made that connection with an Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah, at the very end of Incredible Hulk, Robert Downey Jr. comes in as Tony Stark.
Exactly.
And that was the first hint, I think, of a shared universe. And then you have Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers, which were kind of, I think, announced around the same time. And at that point, we knew what was going on. Introduction of Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. But it was just so exciting seeing just the very first Avengers movie, seeing a crossover for the first time in cinematic history.
Now, I have not seen the first Avengers movies, nor have I seen the second one.
You're missing out. You're missing out, Bo.
I think I've just seen the first one.
You haven't seen the second one? Age of Ultron?
No.
I mean, seriously, those movies just kind of flew by me.
Right.
They come out too fast to keep up with, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, didn't Captain Marvel just come out like, what, a couple months ago?
It's still at the movies. Yeah.
And Spider-Man Homecoming is still kind of fresh, and so is Infinity War.
Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok as well. Yeah,
Panther. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Black Panther. That was they were nominated for a Best Picture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
again,
yeah.
you can see all these on Netflix.
Oh yeah, they made so much
For now.
money
For
off
now.
of Black Panther. Black Panther was a blockbuster. It was huge.
Oh yeah.
So it would be a shame to not see another one of those.
I'm actually really looking forward to checking out Black Panther because some of my favorite parts of Infinity War was when the Wakandan army was just lined up and just chanting and getting
Right.
ready to just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, and it's interesting hearing that you haven't seen the Avengers because this movie, in particular, one plot line does heavily lean on foreknowledge from that movie.
Yeah. But also I noticed that a lot of it depends on knowledge of like Thor, of the Thor movies, the Iron Man movies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, if you watch those movies and maybe the Captain American, like maybe at least one or two of the Captain American movies, you probably know about enough to go into these.
I would say.
I would
Right.
say.
the Avengers for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's make
Yeah.
a guide here.
Captain America.
Like
Like, if
Civil
someone-
War, you have to know
Yeah,
what happens
yeah,
from
Ash.
Civil War, right?
Ash, what do you think is the definitive order to experience these movies?
Release order.
Release order.
Release
I,
order?
I am very stringent on that. You keep seeing all these lists online that are like, watch Captain America first because Captain America is the first chronologically. Well, actually, that's not true. Captain America's framed in the present, and with the bulk of the movie happening via flashbacks. So
Exactly.
technically,
It's Iron Man.
and the appearance of Nick Fury at the end and all that means nothing if you don't know who those characters are. So I strongly disagree with watching that one first. I recommend watching them in release order.
There's a reason they were released that way.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
reason Captain Marvel was just released before Endgame.
And that's recent. As a lot of people are saying, watch Captain America and then Captain Marvel because it happens in the 90s. But again, explaining certain character flashbacks and having those references just don't make sense if you're not introduced to those characters already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I strongly disagree with watching anything outside of release order. And I strongly recommend watching actually all of these. I think to understand like little dynamics, like the relationships between characters or a character's arc or just events that happen. They do a pretty good job of recapping
Yeah.
important events and reintroducing characters in the Avengers movies. But at the same time, to get the big picture, I mean, every movie will rely on other movies and then those movies rely on other movies. So essentially you have to watch them all with really the only skippable one, I think, being The Incredible Hulk.
That's about it, really.
Because that's kind of an isolated storyline. Doesn't even have the same actor.
right.
Poor Banner. Wah, wah, wah.
First Hulk never happened. Sorry.
Damn it.
But
Yeah.
if you do have to skip anything and you want to watch like minimalist, I'd say we'll start with Iron Man because that's the beginning of the
For
journey.
sure.
I
Watch
actually watched that movie just recently. That's actually one of the few of these movies that I actually own on DVD.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I would go ahead and watch that one because it kicks off and there's in particular
I've
that
seen
ending line, "I am Iron Man," which just completely changed the way the MCU went.
Yeah,
Iron
it did.
Man.
It was an improvised line as well.
Yeah, and
Ozzy Osbourne.
It changed
Ozzy
the whole
Osbourne.
identity of the
Iron Man,
movies.
right?
Oh yeah, of course we got to take it back to Ozzy Osbourne and Black
Iron
Sabbath.
Man.
But I'd start with that one. I'd watch all of the Captain Americas as well because all of them are pretty central, especially Civil War, and Civil War relies on Captain America 1
Right.
and
Civil
2.
War is like another Avengers movie.
Basically Avengers 2.5.
Right.
And I definitely watch, of course, the Avengers. And I'd watch Thor Ragnarok because it's a perfect segue into Infinity War.
Agreed.
And then if you watch nothing else, obviously
Yeah.
don't watch this if you haven't seen Infinity War.
Yeah.
No, at the very least, I had to watch Infinity War and at least get the context for Thanos and for the Infinity Stones and all of that. I mean, I understand that that's been building up over all of these movies, but in Infinity War, they do kind of summarize it rather well.
Right.
Well, Infinity War and Endgame were originally two parts of the same movie, Infinity War. They were originally introduced. So, in essence, they still are. They're two halves of a complete story. Now, the filmmakers decided that the differences between the two in terms of tone and storyline were different enough that it necessitated changing the title from Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2
Yeah.
to Infinity War and Endgame. But all the same, Endgame picks up after Infinity War, and it makes sense as one complete picture.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not necessarily the first series that's done that. Of course, Hunger Games did that. Harry Potter did that with their final couple of movies.
Yeah, but those were actual parts. What Ash is explaining is that these aren't even parts. They're movies that are different enough that they're their own whole movies. They just happen to be released.
Yeah, you can definitely tell what the standalone movies are.
Right.
I mean, I've seen Spider-Man: Homecoming, and that's actually a really enjoyable movie on its own.
Oh yeah.
I mean, with Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I mean,
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And the relationship that they bring up between Tony Stark and Peter Parker really comes full force by the time Infinity War rolls around.
And Homecoming is where you see that relationship kind of built upon a little more.
They touched
Agreed.
on it in Civil War, but Homecoming really defines that. And in particular, there's a line in Homecoming where Tony Stark says, like, if you die, I feel like that's on me.
Yeah.
And the full weight of that line really comes into play in Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Especially the way that Peter Parker goes there, because
we can spoil Infinity War. We're not
I
gonna
was
spoil
about to
Endgame.
say
yeah,
that.
we'll spoil it.
Yeah.
That's been out for at least a year.
Yeah, if you haven't watched
Seriously.
Infinity War,
It's a meme. Everybody knows that everybody
fuck
gets
it.
dusted at the end.
Dude, even before I saw that, I knew about the dusting, the snap. I knew about the biggest. What is it? Did he say the biggest sacrifices require the strongest wills, or something like that? To that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a meme as well, or the one where he talks about resting and watching the sunrise on a great
There's
universe.
what is this?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Is this your home? It was.
That was a
and it
meme,
was
yeah.
beautiful. That was another meme.
Yeah. It was, and it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yes. He has so many good lines. Thanos. They did a really good job. This movie as well.
Yeah.
But Infinity War also did a really good job of his wording, and like the trailers was really tense.
Yep.
In time you will learn.
The drama, the tone, the comedy, it's all right on par with Infinity War,
Right.
which itself was a very well put together movie, except I'd say this one was even better. There was
agree.
never a single dull moment, and I didn't feel that way with Infinity War either, but it really was emphasized here. It's all action, really. I mean, you know what I mean?
We got to see more of Jeremy Renner's character too, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Hawkeye played something of a
Badass.
badass.
I mean, his
We're just gonna
haircut
stick
was
there.
dope, but-
he played something of a badass in all of these movies.
Or is he the new
but-
Ronin character? I think he...
Yeah, that was their
Something like
idea. That's what you can see from the trailer. Even
Yeah.
they show you that.
Yeah, from the trailer you see that he's kind of gone a little.
Right.
Yeah, Hawkeye and Ant-Man were noticeably absent in Infinity
Yeah.
War, but they're back in this movie. They play very big roles. And I do want to say that if you felt like anybody got sidelined and they didn't have as important a role in Infinity War, you don't have to worry about an Endgame. Everybody gets
They get
a
their time
chance.
on screen.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And I think it's pretty common knowledge now that not every deity dies from the snap. That should have been known already, because we know that we're
Half
having
the universe can't stay dead.
half
We
the
knew.
universe can't stay dead. That's
of
not going to
course.
happen.
So
And-
Endgame, of course, everybody knows is about reversing the snap.
Right.
That's the synopsis.
Yeah.
And that's not too much to spoil, because we already have confirmed Spider-Man: Homecoming. Or not,
Of
sorry,
course.
Far From Home, not
Far From
Homecoming.
Far From Home, and of course there is a fourth phase in the works. from what I
Right,
believe,
and
from
with
what I've
Guardians of
heard.
the Galaxy 3, they've already confirmed.
Oh,
With
wow.
James
yeah.
Gunn back on.
Yes, that was crazy. Did y'all hear about that whole?
Batista gets a job again?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they got James Gunn back. I can't wait.
Yeah, that was crazy. James Gunn
Did
posted online.
Did
and-
James Gunn do any directorial consulting work on this movie like he did in Infinity War?
I'm not sure.
I am not as sure as well.
I think all of this happened, I guess, probably while he was out of the game.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, unless it happened much earlier than we
Yeah.
think it did, and it probably
And,
did.
and he's going to do
Right.
both the third Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad
yes,
sequel,
and
right?
he's coming back for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 after he finishes the Suicide Squad,
Suicide
which
Squad.
is
Also, it's not a
wow.
sequel, by the way.
Oh,
It's a
really?
whole reboot. Yes.
except
Oh,
it's
that's-
still in the
that's right.
DCEU continuity.
It is.
So it's a soft reboot, I
Well,
guess.
they already got Idris Elba as Deadshot instead
Uh-huh.
of Will Smith.
No,
but
it's confirmed he's actually a new role. He's not.
oh,
Deadshot
that's
anymore.
right.
Yeah.
He switched roles. That's right.
And they confirm
Whoa.
Margot Robbie coming back?
Margot Robbie's coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
And,
I don't see anybody else who could play Harley Quinn.
course not.
Honestly, in that one.
And Jared Leto as the Joker.
Of course.
No, they're
that was
not
actually
gonna
pretty
bring him
good.
back.
He's coming back.
Replace
No.
Jared Leto,
Yeah,
so-
but
No.
think it's
Wait. He's not coming back, is he?
That's what I heard. I heard he's back. So,
oh, that's right.
No,
we
they
haven't
just
even.
said in the same
they have
continuity,
Joaquin
so-
Phoenix as Joker.
Oh man, we can't
Screw
even.
that.
But Joaquin
Dude.
Phoenix, that's standalone. It's
That
not
is
part of the DCEU.
But even so, why would you have two different Jokers kind of competing with each
okay,
other?
but this is a good point. Okay,
And there's also
DC is a clusterfuck right now.
Oh, of course.
Marvel's not. That's why Marvel's excelling. This shared universe has worked for over
Yeah.
a decade, and short of a few easily explainable kind of changes where you can tell something in the writing happened. There's no glaring plot holes, and it's all one continuity. It all works.
Right, and there's also that TV show Gotham, which has another Joker. Cameron Monaghan, this guy from Shameless and a bunch of other shit.
I've only seen a few.
He's
episodes.
Joker in that one, which I think he plays a good Joker.
See,
I think you would like that one.
I haven't really checked out the DC CW universe.
See, that's another thing.
So-
There's a whole new
Supergirl.
universe. There's that universe
Supergirl,
with Flash, Arrow.
There's
all
Gotham,
that.
Arrowverse, DCEU, and there's this Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. So, like I said, the DC universe right now is just kind of a clusterfuck.
It's fucked.
At least
Exactly.
in the world of cinema, it's just not. It's trying so hard to be Marvel. And did you hear that Ezra Miller Did you hear that Ezra Miller was gone?
Really?
Wait, that was
He's
the
not
Flash,
coming
right?
back. Yeah, Ezra
He
Miller's
was
not
the Flash.
coming
So
back.
he's not coming back as the Flash, huh?
Nope.
Oh,
So yeah, see,
damn.
they're screwed. They've got so much stuff, like just continuity mess ups, and I don't know. They need to work on that.
Yeah, like rip the DCEU. It's not happening. I don't know.
There's so much
what about
hope, but-
Aquaman?
There was some hope. Aquaman I liked, and
Yeah.
Shazam looks really good. I haven't seen it yet. So
I don't
there
think
was a
it's
lot of
come out. It has
hope
it?
for the DCEU, but
It has.
It has.
It
Oh,
is.
nice.
Yeah.
it's been pretty favorably reviewed, I believe.
Oh, I bet. It looks funny.
Yeah, so it looked like they were going in the right direction, but now it's like I don't know.
I actually have hope for the Suicide Squad just because it is, like
James
they said,
Gunn.
a reboot, and it's James Gunn. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago? Why are you rebooting it? Shit.
because it needed it, as Bo would say.
That movie is crap, but we will get into that in season 3,
Switch the
ladies and
Batmans,
gentlemen.
Switch everybody. I don't know.
That's right. Season 3 starts off with Suicide Squad.
You're right. That's our premiere episode for season 3. So
Premiere
stay
episode.
tuned.
Yeah, with Michael Cornwell of the Country Club.
He better be
Here's
there.
here's a question for you, Robert, okay? Our resident filmmaker, right? Okay. As far as the cinematography goes, did anything stand out to you with this movie?
It was almost a lot like Infinity War, almost like
Right.
almost like the same thing over again.
It was directed by the Russos once again.
Yeah. And they were very very selective in the way that they showed, like the fight scenes and the battles and everything. Like especially at the end of Infinity War, where they kind of have everybody just come together and how they introduce everybody in
Yeah.
that battle,
Yeah, the Russo brothers also directed Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
Wow,
they have that background.
So they've had a pretty deep hand in
there's some great stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
in really contributing to the overall story of this series.
Yeah, and Joss Whedon did the first 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Avengers, the
Yeah.
first one, is a masterpiece. I mean,
I
that
agree.
movie still holds up. I just watch it.
It's still in the top 10 blockbusters.
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
top 10 most money made from a movie. Like, it's still up there.
Well, let's see what happens after all the tally is in on Endgame.
I don't know. I
Like,
think opening night pre-sale, they already went through the roof with pre-sale tickets.
and from what I understand, the overseas box office is at a cool $169 million.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's
Yeah.
blowing waters already, and it's
Yeah,
going
I
to
mean-
continue doing that.
Has it already outgrossed Infinity War?
I don't think so. Maybe in pre-sale tickets.
I mean, in pre-sale, yeah. Like,
possibly. I haven't looked it up. I don't think I think it might have passed up Infinity War's pre-sale, but I don't know if it's talking about your total gross. I don't think it's done that yet.
I think
course
that the best way to really determine that is to maybe give it a week or two and then we
Right.
see what all the fucking box office tallies are.
yeah.
And
we'll see what the critical response is. But so far, everything that I have heard about this is that it's great, and it's even better than Infinity War. And I have to agree. I honestly, I came into this not too skeptical. I mean, I knew it was going to be great, but I tried to look at it a little cynically, and I want to say at the end, there's a few ends to me that are like I need to figure out with my brain.
Right.
But it's nothing that's like glaring. It's nothing that's like
It's the timeline.
yeah.
Right.
At the end of the movie.
Yeah, there's a few questions I have, but obviously these are going to be explained, and there's just not enough time on screen to explain everything. And yet, the story doesn't feel incomplete at all. It's wrapped up.
Absolutely.
The whole 22
Yeah.
film series, and yet you're excited to see what happens in the future.
Of course.
Oh, certainly. I mean, for me, I mean, having not seen a whole lot of these movies, I mean, I still felt that the pacing of the story was really, really just on point. Like
a lot happened.
Both in the way that it was overarching over all these movies, but also in these particular two movies, Endgame and Infinity War.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I was thoroughly entertained by both movies, and they tell a very well-contained story just even within those two movies. I mean, even somebody like me can jump in and get right into the action and still have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
you know?
Yes.
agreed.
And in both cases, I was really impressed with the pacing and how
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
managing to fit as much content as they did, it still feels natural. It doesn't feel rushed.
Like Infinity War. I mean, I watched that last night. 2 hours flew by like nothing. Like I remember looking at the counter on Netflix and it's like 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's like, oh, this is almost done.
I remember
Holy crap.
2 hours in this movie, and it's a 3-hour movie, right?
Right.
And I was really sad
I
because
was
I realized there was only an hour left, and I was really sad. I wanted more. I was like, no, this can't be ending yet.
I think this movie really embodied the theme of epic. I think it did a really good job, just like Infinity War did. It was this theme, this epic theme. You know, they just did so well, you know. In Infinity War, when Thor comes in on scene with the Stormbreaker, you know.
There's a scene like that in this movie.
Yes, there's a scene like that in this movie
that
with
is so
characters.
that epicness.
Yes, they do that with lots of characters, actually, in multiple points in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think this is definitely worth watching, 100%. I mean, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but...
Honestly, I think that in general it's going to be a 5 out of 5 for all of us because, I mean...
Opening night, we went and saw it. We had
Opening night, we went and saw it. I mean, it's a great movie. There's very little filler there at all. That was something that really helped with that pacing.
Right.
You know, there wasn't a bunch of superfluous bullshit.
No.
You know, which is the problem that I had with Justice League is that, I mean, I just didn't like the way that story fucking flowed.
You didn't like the
came
pacing
together.
and all that?
I didn't like how the characters came together. I didn't like the characterizations. Like, I mean, Superman was off, Batman was off, but compare that to these two movies, just Infinity War and Endgame, it's like, that was way more on point.
There's not a single movie in the DC universe that compares to these two movies.
No, not at all.
Marvel's Studios has got...
They got their shit together.
They're on point. They have their shit together. And these movies are, especially the Avengers movies, are impressively well put together. You know, you would think, and it's really surprising because a lot of these big movies seem to be mostly hype. And I think a lot of people want to assume that, but I haven't met a single person who's watched all of these and hasn't been impressed by it and hasn't actually... Because they are well directed and well written. All of this shit is thought out.
Yeah, I mean, I have never once been truly bored watching any of these movies.
No,
like there's nothing that really drags me down or anything. You know?
Yeah. If the only thing stopping you right now is that it's a big hype and that you just don't think you're interested in it because everybody else is. Get off your pretentious high horse and just watch Marvel.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just watch this. It's fucking good, guys.
I'm not even a comic book guy. I've always been an anime and manga nerd, more or less, and a movie guy. But comic books, I've maybe owned 2 or 3 comic books in my life, tops.
Right.
I've owned far more manga than I have comics. But even with all that said, I could still get some enjoyment from this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, and that's what's good about Marvel is that they can make their movies you can approach them as part of the overarching storyline, or they can also be standalone movies.
Agreed. They did a really good job at that. Like I said, standalone movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can jump right in.
Exactly. I mean, you did.
Yeah, I did. Like on Infinity War, I mean, the beginning of that movie, which, I mean, yeah, we can do spoilers for Infinity War. That starts with the Asgardians being picked up by Thanos and his army.
Right. You don't even know who
right
the
after Ragnarok.
That's the end of Ragnarok right there.
Yeah.
That was literally seconds after Ragnarok ended, you know?
And supposedly Far From Home is supposed to take minutes after Endgame.
Wow.
That's the rumor anyway.
After Endgame? Really?
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
It's going to be interesting.
Kind of a prequel,
it's going to be interesting how they actually go into that. Honestly,
I do have a little bit of a question about how that works from the end of Endgame, but I'm sure it'll be explained.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll understand when you see it. I think you'll probably have the same questions if you're a critical thinker like Ash and I are. we get into it a little deep, but
So basically, we can treat Far From Home as kind of a proper epilogue for this saga, more or less, right?
It's supposed to be
100%,
the actual. Yeah, they just a few days ago they confirmed it would.
Yeah.
It would be the real end of Phase 3 rather than
I got you.
Endgame.
Well, this is the end. Like I said, it's an epilogue. It's just
Yeah.
kind of an after the end kind of.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it, I think. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but Far From Home trailer looks awesome. I got
does.
so excited just hearing the old Spider-Man theme at the end and
Yes.
everything, too.
Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio.
Jake Gyllenhaal is
Oh,
Mysterio.
Gyllenhaal, man, I love him, dude. He was great in Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, that was a good movie.
That's a fucking great movie.
Donnie Darko.
And Donnie Darko. Oh yeah, of course. Can't forget Donnie Darko.
Guys, okay, I have an important question for all of you, okay?
Yeah.
Out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who's your favorite superhero? Or which is your favorite franchise? Because that can be different.
I have a feeling that if I watch Black Panther, that's going to be my favorite.
That's a great choice. He is
Yeah.
a fantastic character. They
Seriously.
brought him out of Civil War was his first one, correct?
Yeah.
That was the first one he
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
appeared in.
yeah.
He was in Civil War, and they did a really good job bringing him in, and giving him a backstory, so that you could watch this new movie, Black Panther, and you already know about him. You know who he is, and I think that was a really good job of doing that. He's a likable character. He's
He
a
is.
badass too.
Wakanda is an amazing setting. You
Oh, you're
Wakanda
gonna
forever.
Yeah, when
Wakanda
you,
forever.
trust
Straight
me,
up.
when you watch the movie, you're gonna like Wakanda even more.
Oh, nice.
It's worth it. You're gonna get like the characters, Shuri and what's her name?
Okoye.
Okoye.
And
Shuri and
M'Baku.
Okoye.
Danai Gurira.
That's Lupita Nyong'o's character, right?
No,
The-
that's Danai Gurira.
The bald lady,
Yes, that's Danai Gurira.
and Lupita Nyong'o is.
She has hair, but she's in Black Panther. She's like kind of his
okay.
girlfriend.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I thought that
Nakia.
was Lupita Nyong'o.
Unless Lupita Nyong'o is his sister. What's the actress's name for the sister? Maybe that is.
I could have sworn that it was his main.
His main lover isn't in this movie.
I'm not talking about that. His the head of his female guard.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Danai Gurira.
That's
who
Danai
plays,
Gurira.
Michonne
Lupita Nyong'o
from-
is his girlfriend, his love interest.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
she
so-
plays Michonne in Walking Dead, but she has like
Yeah.
dreads in that show.
Yeah.
Oh.
I gotcha. And she's in the new Us,
Is she?
made by Jordan Peele.
I haven't
the new
seen
movie
it.
Us.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'd
Have-
like to see that.
Jordan
have you seen?
Peele.
Have you seen Get Out?
I have seen Get Out.
That's a great movie.
That is a great movie.
Okay, Letitia
Yeah.
Wright does Shuri.
Okay,
Letitia
right on.
Letitia Wright.
She was
always
really
right.
she was really cool.
That's
honestly.
his sister, yeah.
I like that character.
You should see her fists. She gets these like fist weapons.
Oh,
I think she
nice.
uses
They
them.
showed it.
They did, but she
Yeah.
uses these weapons and she punches her way through shit. It's cool.
Nice.
Minor spoiler. You get to see Shuri's weapons.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Did I say that? Dakota.
That was
Damn
the
it.
sound of me backhanding
Back-
Dakota.
Backhand.
Okay,
Backhand. Back.
Dakota,
What?
you've had a lot to say about Black Panther, but which is your favorite superhero / favorite movie franchise within the MCU?
I absolutely loved Captain Marvel when it came out. I have to say I love that a lot. But as my favorite movie franchise, I think she's my favorite character now.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I really got a good connection to her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ant-Man's I think is my favorite
Ant-Man.
storyline because he's funny. He's what is it, the Deadpool of this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
In a way, yeah. or maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Or the Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are always good. See, it's so hard to choose your favorite because
for,
they're
for
so
me, Guardians of the Galaxy all the way.
of course.
I mean, Peter Quill, he's my kind of guy for one.
Right.
I mean, I love Drax.
you know
Drax is so fucking
Oh
cool.
yeah, Drax is hilarious.
Drax is the
I mean,
best. I
Gamora-
feel like Drax is mean.
And-
And Gamora's the perfect foil for Quill
right
as well.
And Dave Bautista, I mean, he's amazing actor and he's so funny and
And he recently ended his wrestling career.
He did, didn't he?
Career against
Yeah.
Triple H at WrestleMania.
retired.
It was at WrestleMania, huh? He's retired.
Bradley Cooper as Rocket's pretty good too.
oh yeah.
Oh, he's always been great as Rocket.
Rocket is fun.
And of course, Vin Diesel. I am Groot.
yeah.
As if anybody
Vin
can tell that was
Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
I know,
couldn't
right?
For a second, no.
I am Groot.
You know what's crazy about that? In the original and in all of these other ones, invariably, he actually sat there and recorded the phrase "I am Groot" in every language imaginable.
Are you serious?
He recorded it. Yeah,
And he
wa-
records
that's-
it different every single time the line is said too, right?
Yeah.
They don't just
Yeah.
repeat it.
So yeah, every single alternate non-English vocal track on that featuring Groot. That's Vin Diesel.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's something that I always thought was really cool. I mean, I do have a lot of respect for Vin Diesel.
Right.
Honestly.
And
Pacifier.
when you're talking about that was a good movie. That was hilarious.
I think just for his nerd bona fides, you know, I mean, he's a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd. You know, of course, he had to be in a fucking comic book movie.
Of course.
And Fast and the Furious.
Was that
Of course, Fast and the Furious. You can't.
Yeah.
Robert, favorite heroes or films?
Probably the Spider-Man franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You talking like OG?
And I'm talking about in
Spider-Man?
the MCU specifically.
MCU specifically, yeah.
Okay, I'm probably Iron Man then.
That's a good choice.
Started from
Yeah.
2008, you know.
Well, I'm like you. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time.
Ash?
But I feel like Spider-Man hasn't had enough time to grow in the MCU.
No, he hasn't, right?
So, honestly, I mean, I feel a lot of affinity for Thor
I knew you would say that.
because,
Yeah.
because
That's why
I look like him.
That's one reason why I didn't say Thor, because I personally love Thor a lot. That's one of my favorite too. But I knew you were going to say that.
But
so.
That's funny because that's why I phrased it the way I did, because he'd be my favorite hero in the MCU, but I think my favorite films would be the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Or can I just say the obvious and say that the Avengers are literally the best ones?
Well, yeah, obviously, I guess.
Even Age of Ultron is still a phenomenal movie. I still enjoy it a lot.
Yes.
It's not as good as the first one or Infinity War or Endgame.
Yeah, but remember that top 10 blockbuster list that I told you about earlier?
Yeah.
Age of Ultron is also on that list.
Is on that. Yeah, that's not surprising.
So, I mean, you can't say anything bad about it when it's made so much money.
Okay, the MCU, all right, it's not perfect. I mean, there's been some films that have been considered more mediocre or kind of dropped the ball. Most people say Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Avengers Age of Ultron, and yet, as a whole, it's still really, really good. And I enjoy watching those movies. I mean, Dakota and I have been rewatching them, actually. In
For a
preparation
second
for
time,
this.
yeah.
For a second time, rewatching. So we've watched them all at the time they came out. We've rewatched it all once.
Yeah, and now we're on it again.
And then, of course, at various points, watched all of the films
Sporadically,
right.
I'm sure I've seen Infinity War 4 or 5 times. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, both of them at least 3 or 4. I mean, it's just, you see it on, you watch it.
Yeah, I still need to see the second Guardians of the Galaxy, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, Kurt Russell, bro.
I know, man. Kurt fucking Russell.
They even have a young Kurt Russell in that movie.
Fuck
They
yeah,
CGI
man.
him.
I mean, Jesus, Big Trouble in Little China, the thing.
Yes.
God damn.
That's a good movie.
I'm kind of
Fuck
like
yeah.
Robert. I'm a big fan of like the old OG Raimi Spider-Man films.
Yeah, the Tobey Maguire films. Right?
So, you know, I had a thought because they mentioned Doctor Strange in one of them as kind of a gag thing.
Yeah, I remember.
What would happen if that had spawned like a shared universe, you know?
That'd have been
Could they have
interesting.
done as well as Marvel Studios?
You know,
Who
we just
knows?
rewatched, what was it, Age of Ultron, and they actually mentioned Doctor Strange before he comes in.
Actually, it's Captain America the Winter Soldier.
It's the Winter Soldier, that's right.
And because
That's
of
right.
the algorithm.
The algorithm
A lot of
from
people
Hydra.
think that it means that Doctor Strange must take place before Winter Soldier, but it doesn't.
No.
It's actually because it's an algorithm that can predict
That was
people.
and he said that. He said it predicts the future.
You have to pay attention. Well, the Captain America movies, there's a lot to unpack. They're very, very, very intellectual, but also very, very hard to follow.
Right.
Complex movies. And the Avengers, on the other hand, especially with the way the Russos, who directed Captain America 2 and 3, the way they've taken the Avengers movies, I think in a way completely, perfectly melds the emotion and the intellect.
Yeah.
Marries completely, you know, like the drama and the comedy with a deep storyline, a complex storyline.
Honestly, I'm partial to James Gunn, man, because I just like his directorial style, especially coming from Troma. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's where he came from. I mean, did he help write Terra Firma?
I have
Robert?
no idea what that movie is. Freaking
That's
crazy.
where
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy is the best, I think.
Oh,
Agreed.
seriously.
Because James Gunn just does a perfect job making
Yeah.
what would have been the
plus-
weirdest thing to put on screen.
Plus, Lloyd Kaufman also did a cameo in that movie, and that made me smile.
Oh yeah.
That made me smile so much. He was in the prison.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was great.
Yeah, and I think that's been a recurring trend too, has been the rise of comedy. Superhero
Yeah.
movies aren't taking themselves as seriously as they were before. We are getting a lot more lighthearted comedies, and even movies that marry the comedy with
Right.
the drama, like Infinity War and Endgame do.
Thor Ragnarok. Oh, that was such a good job with
Ragnarok.
the humor in that one.
And yet that's a movie that feels a little bit more like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
It's a little more lighthearted, and I'd love to see what Taika Waititi could do in the future.
I do as well. He's a great director as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Who does Korg, by the way?
He does. Yeah, he plays Korg.
Plays the voice of Korg.
That's cool.
Just a little rock paper scissors joke for you.
Well, anyway, guys, I think that we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Excuse me. What's everybody's final thoughts on this movie and on the MCU period?
I can't reveal my final thoughts because I'd have to spoil them.
Yeah, probably.
Just go see it. Just go see this movie.
Yeah, this was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Completely, not only met, it surpassed my expectations. I came into it completely just, and I'm going to see it again tomorrow, and I'm going to get to unpack it again.
That's going to be fun.
And, there's just I just want to see it again actually right now.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I liked it as well as Ragnarok and Infinity Wars, and I would recommend going to see it again.
Yeah, right on. Man, I'm blown away by it, honestly, especially having seen Infinity War just last night. I mean, which is the perfect way to put everything in context. I mean, I'm blown away by it, and I'm like kind of kicking myself in the ass for not really following the MCU as closely as everybody has. Because, I mean, I remember seeing all of these commercials for all the other Avengers movies and everything's on Adult Swim back in the day. They would do promos on that, and I didn't really think much of it. But then when they started releasing more of them, I was just like, they might actually be doing something interesting here. But then again, I just couldn't be arsed to fucking, watch them.
Yeah, well, you're missing out, Bo.
Go watch the Avengers, Bo. Just go watch the very first Avengers movie.
Yeah, I think that they're pretty decent price at most used DVD shops. So I'll probably try to buy them up, honestly. And how about you, Dakota?
Honestly, there's no perfect guide to watch this movie besides watching all the other movies beforehand, every single one. Yeah. Ash was mentioning you can watch all the Captain Americas, all the Iron Mans, and that works. But do you want the full experience? And if you do, watch all the movies.
Straight up.
Watch them all, start from the beginning, get them all going. Once you get through, you're gonna be just as intensified when you're watching this movie. Just as, you know what I mean? It's so you feel the aching when characters die in Infinity War. You feel the aching of people's heartbreak. You feel the connection between characters, and I think Endgame also did a really good job of that.
Solid writing. And final ratings. I guess we're all just going to be unanimous here, right?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Go see this movie, ladies and gentlemen. It was crazy good. Crazy good.
Go see it tomorrow. Now.
Yeah. Now.
See it immediately. Immediately.
Oh, and listen to our podcast. Spread it to your people because this is like our review for this, and we want to get it out there.
The first Endgame.
Yeah, we're not even going to do a whole lot of editing on this. We're just going to
get this shit out.
We're shoving it out there.
Take a little bit off the front end, and that's it.
Right. We're taking it unedited, raw, uncut, uncircumcised, shoving it right into your butthole.
Oh my God.
As soon as possible.
Well, alrighty, guys. You can find Collateral Cinema on the Podcoin app. You can find us on Chill Lover Radio, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. We should have some YouTube content coming very soon, right, Robert?
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully so. Yeah, I mean, Robert's going to be...
next few months, we got to finish up a few short films, but we'll get around to it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely look for some things from the YouTube channel, and also definitely look for more from Collateral Gaming. They've gone monthly now instead of bi-weekly.
Yes. So, yeah, and I did want to plug Collateral Gaming a little bit. If you love video games, go follow our other podcast, Collateral Gaming Video Game Podcast. Dakota and I run that together.
Yes,
and
sir.
also, Bo and Robert jump on and pop in their comments once in a while, too. So, it's the whole experience except with video games. And, yes, we are moving to a monthly format, sad to say. But it's good. It's actually a good thing because we're going to get more time to actually play these games, and we are going to try to release something every 2 weeks because whereas before we were going to release the Let's Plays and the indie reviews like in between during the 1 week marks, now those are going to be on the 2 week.
Right.
We're not committed to that, but we're going to try to hold to that so that you have something.
Yeah, and we do that to now it gives us more time to focus on the quality of our podcast. It allows us to, spend time on editing more, and it allows us, like we said, play the game. A movie with Collateral Cinema, you can watch a movie and you can do that pretty quickly. but with a game, you got to really play that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of good games you can play. Cough, cough, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Cough, cough.
We're doing Marvel Ultimate Alliance
We are.
at some
No,
point.
Marvel
very soon.
superheroes, motherfuckers. Dreamcast.
Ah, right.
Dreamcast.
And finishing off this season with Spider-Man PS4,
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
excited for that one.
which
What?
is really, really, really good. The best version of Spider-Man, actually, I believe. Take out Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, all aside.
So you think this
Gary
is the,
Lowenthal
the
is
best,
the best Spider-Man,
adaptation?
and it's in a video game.
Nice.
But
Nice.
you'll get to hear more about that later. Anyways,
Well-
guys,
Right on, guys.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And this is Collateral Cinema, and we are out.
Out. Last word.
Go see Endgame.
Last word.